Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you guys all doing? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another Global News live stream, episode 78. Here we cover news from outside the UK. I've got 6 stories for you, but we also have the deep state map, so we have a lot to cover. I'm not sure if we'll cover all of it. I don't want to go any further than 7:30, but we'll see how things go as well. I also have an additional funny video that I want to share with you guys if we get time, as well as on top of the funny memes as well. But this live stream is taking place on the 5th of August 2025 at 6 p.m. at the UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. If you're on either one of those platforms, if you're on Twitch, if you can, hit that follow button, hit that bell notification icon so you get notified of when I go live on the Twitch. If you're on YouTube, if you can, hit that like or even that dislike button. It does help improve the algorithm. And also hit the bell notification icon on YouTube as well. By turning that bell notification icon, bloop, actually notifies you of when I go live as well. Now, sometimes you need to turn it off and turn it back on, but that gets it going there. So let's get started. The first story I want to cover is a very frustrating one indeed, and I mean, all I can say is why. I suppose is the question we have to ask ourselves when we talk about this. So Israel kills on average 28 Palestinian children daily in Gaza. So Israel has killed more than 18,000 children since the start of its genocidal war on Gaza. 18,000 children. We're not talking about adults. We're not even talking about women. We're talking about children. Children who don't understand any of this. Don't understand why they're in this conflict. Don't understand why they're in the lives that they're in. Don't understand why their families are getting blown up. Don't understand why they're starving to death. Children don't have any understanding of what's going on. And 18,000 of them have died as a direct consequence of actions and political decisions taken by Israel, and the consequences of the rest of the world sitting by and allowing it to happen. Blood is not just on the IDF soldiers and the Israeli Defense Forces, and yes, there is some blood on Hamas as well, but there is also blood on all the world leaders as well when it comes to this, because they could have done something, and it is only because of the images that they have seen that the outpouring in anger have come from it is why political leaders are moving. Only because of that. Not because they care, but it's only because of that. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't need to tell you that it shouldn't happen. But the fact it has happened is a real mark of shame on the human race, I would say, for that many children to have died needlessly that did not need to die. Children that had bright futures ahead of them, and all their lives have been taken from them, did not need to be taken. They don't understand any of this, but they're being warped in because of what's happening to them. That their minds are being warped into hating Israelis more than ever before. It's really horrifying when I think about it. A good evening, Alex Adams and Rosemary. Good to see you both. Hope you guys are doing well, and anyone else lurking in the chats. So approximately 28 children are being killed daily in Gaza due to the ongoing Israeli bombardment and its restrictions on the delivery of direly needed humanitarian assistance, according to the United Nations. Death by bombardments, death by malnutrition and starvation, death by lack of aid and vital service, the UN's Children's Funds, UNICEF, said in a post on X on Tuesday. In Gaza, an average of 28 children a day, the size of a classroom, has been killed. The agency stressed that the children in Gaza are in urgent need of food, clean water, medicine, and protection, adding, more than anything, they need a ceasefire now. It wasn't, for me, let's get one fact straight more than anything, okay? Israel are the ones who have blocked the aid. Israel are the ones who have blocked the food. Israel are the ones who have made it difficult for Palestinians. Israel are the ones who brokered the last ceasefire and decided to resume. Israel are the ones who chose to do this, okay? It's important. The context matters. And for all that everybody says about sorry, 1 second. No, something come up. Apologies. For all the people who keep continuously say that, oh, it's we need a ceasefire now. We need to get the hostages released and whatnot. They never criticize Israel. They never say anything bad about Israel when the facts are right there in front of us. The evidence is right there in front of us. The photos, the videos, the eyewitnesses. So much of it is there, and yet, despite all the evidence, people still continue to defend Israel. People still continue to defend Netanyahu. People still continue to defend this Israeli government. And we're talking about children here. Children. And for the record, this isn't just the only place this is happening. This is happening in Sudan. And the only reason they don't talk about it in Sudan is because it's not mainstream news. And this is happening in other parts of the world as well. Oh yeah, it's not just Sudan. There are other African countries and other parts of the world that are having some of this. Some children are dying of malnutrition. But you don't hear about it. $18,000. One child every hour since the start of the genocidal war in Gaza. At least 60,933 Palestinians have been killed, and 150,027 others wounded since October 7, 2023, Hamas attacked southern Israel. That number is, do not be surprised if that number is actually 21,000, because that's only what's been recorded. In the last 24 hours, at least 8 Palestinians, including one child, have starved to death in Gaza. A total of 188 people, including 94 starving children, have died as Israel continues to blockade and kill aid seekers. For those who survived childhood have been replaced by a daily struggle for the basics of life, Al Jazeera's Ismail Zakovich has said. The tactic is so horrific. Like, everyone knows what's going on, and yet the world again continues to do little. Khadim Kafou Basim, a displaced Palestinian child, said he's forced to support a family of 6 because his father is injured and receiving treatment in Egypt. I love playing football, but now I sell cookies. My childhood is gone. Since the war began, I have no childhood left, Basim told Al Jazeera. Under international law, children like Basim are supposed to be spared the efforts of war. But in Gaza, these children are suffered the most under Israeli military campaign. Schools deliberately targeted, water facilities destroyed, food supplies systematically blocked, and the fundamental rights of childhood, education, play, proper nutrition have been weaponized against entire generations, says Zakovich. And I've said this numerous times. I've said this numerous times about them targeting schools. And every single time, every school, every hospital, any building they've continuously struck, they've said Hamas command centers are there, or they're believed to be Hamas insurgents, and not provided any evidence to support it at all. None at all. Israel's war on Gaza is leaving their psychological scars on children. The hair and skins of Lanya, a 10-year-old displaced child, turned white almost overnight after a bombing near her shelter triggered what doctors call trauma-induced dependentization. Lana has become withdrawn, often only talking to her doll, as other children bully her for her appearance. She talks to her doll and says, "Do you want to play with me, or will you be like the other kids?" Her mental health is severely damaged. Mashal Javed Al-Shafir, Lana's mother, told Al Jazeera. Lots of children's minds are completely destroyed by this. Israel's war on Gaza and its figures. Between March the 18th and 44th, and since the ceasefire, Israel broke the ceasefire, and let's be clear, Israel broke the ceasefire, 9,440 people have died. During the ceasefire, only 170 people were killed. I mean, Why people died during ceasefires, I don't know. Before ceasefire, 46,000. Gaza is a graveyard for children today and for their dreams. Ahmed Anawindi, regional director of NGO Save the Children, told Al Jazeera. Hi, Pete's music. Good to see you there. This is an inescapable living nightmare for every child in Gaza. This is a generation that is growing up thinking that the world has abandoned them, that the world has turned its back on them. Israel has closed Gaza's crossing since March the 2nd, only allowing 86 trucks of aid into the besieged enclave daily. A figure equal to just 14% of the minimum 600 trucks needed each day to meet the basic needs of the population, according to data from Gaza's government media office. The lack of aid has led to an unprecedented famine in Gaza. UN experts and more than 150 humanitarian organizations have called for the permanent ceasefire to allow for aid deliveries and the psychological recovery of what they dubbed a lost generation. I know that's hard to talk about, but this is happening. The fact that this is happening to children is the most heartbreaking thing out of all of it. I just wish people would do something about it, and no one's doing anything about it. And that's the thing that really upsets me the most. We're talking about children here, guys, and they are innocent. All children are innocent. They are all innocent, but that's not how the Israelis see them. They see them because they are all Palestinians, that they are all enemies, they are all terrorists, even the children. Like, that's how cold-blooded, that's how their mindset is. That's how problematic this situation is. It's so bad. It's really, really bad. And I don't know what the solution is. And then I always say my condolences, of course, to those in Gaza suffering every day, and I really, really hope enough aid gets to them at some point, somehow, some way. I really hope so, guys. Going to move away from that story. I know that was a brutal story, but I wanted to do that one first, guys. This next story, switching gears into Europe, is from CNN. Now, some of you guys may know a bit about this, some of you may not. So the headline is Moldova jails a pro-Russian regional leader for election fraud weeks before the crucial vote. So what is this about, Regan? So there was a vote on a referendum of Moldova to join the European Union, and Moldova did pass that. However, there was a widespread election interference is what was claimed. And as we'll read in the article, basically, what people on the Leave campaign were inciting, what they were basically doing is bribing voters to say no. They were offering them money. They were offering them money to also persuade other people to say no. They basically tried everything under the sun to stop Moldovans voting to want to join the European Union. Now, obviously, there's still a long, long process before they can join the European Union. But this pro-Russian regional leader, she is basically what the Moldovan courts and the case put against her and charged with is basically one of the masterminds behind it, essentially here, which is quite huge. So a court in Moldova has sentenced a Kremlin-friendly regional politician to 7 years in prison for funneling money from Russia to finance a political party. So Evgenia Gurto, the leader of the Gaza, a historically pro-Russian ethnic region in southern Moldova, was detained in March on suspicion of electoral fraud and sentenced on Tuesday. Prosecutors said that from 2019 to 2022, Gurto channeled undeclared funds into the country to finance a political party founded by Ian Shaw's, Reuters had reported. Shaw is a pro-Russian businessman who had been convicted of fraud in Moldova and now lives in exile. Gurto's conviction comes weeks before Moldovians vote in a crucial parliamentary election, in which Menia Sandu, the pro-Western president of the former Soviet country, is hoping to retain her governing majority. Sandu was re-elected as president last year in a vote held on the same day as a referendum on joining the European Union, which Moldovans backed by a razor-thin majority. Both votes were marred by what prosecutors said was a massive vote-buying scheme, orchestrated by Shaw, who spent much of his time in Russia since he was convicted for his role in the 2014 theft of the $1 billion from Moldovan banks. So before the referendum, Moldova's national police chief said some 130,000 citizens have received a total of $15 million from Shaw in exchange for voting no or persuading others to do so. The police chief said it was clear that Russia was financing the scheme. Moscow has denied meddling in Moldovan politics. I mean, how much more blatant obvious do you need to get that Russia were involved meddling in the politics here? I mean, how much more clearer do you need to be to say that Russia were interfering here? This is blatant Russian interference in their election. Gazgol, a former secretary for Shaw, now banned party, was elected governor of Gazilia in 2023. That election also drew accusations of vote buying. Last year, Gotol was sanctioned by the EU for actions destabilizing Moldova and promoting separatism in her region. Gotol denies wrongdoing and claims her prosecution was politically motivated. In March, she penned a letter to Donald Trump, claiming that she, like the US president, had been subjugated to propaganda efforts and pressure from corrupt global elites. Basically, her saying, "Trump, please help me. Trump, I'm on your side." Trump didn't answer, obviously. Responding to her sentencing on Tuesday, Gotol said she will appeal the ruling, which she claimed was an attempt to intimidate Gazilians who dared to vote for a party other than the Sandu Party of Action and Solidarity, the PAS. There's other political parties too. This decision is nothing to do with justice. This is a political reprisal planned and executed on orders from above, she wrote on Telegram. Yep, this is the deep state, guys. It's the deep state. The Kremlin also claimed the verdict was politically motivated and that Moldova was systematically suppressing the opposition. Again, this is bollocks. I'm so glad Moldova have things in place to protect them. I really hope that they take all necessary precautions to protect their democracy from Russia. In effect, people are being deprived of an opportunity to vote to those they prefer. Of course, we are seeing a clear violation of democratic rules and norms in this country, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on Tuesday. Moldova's parliamentary election will be held on September 28th. Although Santu's PAS won by a landslide in the last vote in 2021, Moldova has since faced major economic and security challenges spiraling over from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, stirring anti-government sentiments in parts of the country. Yeah. Obviously, the war in Ukraine has had significant effects on Moldova as well, because Moldova was relying a lot on gas from Russia, I believe, as well. They had the pipelines that ran through Ukraine, and obviously those gas pipes aren't turned on because obviously Ukraine turned them off. So they've had to resort to drastic measures. Their country's been significantly hit. Obviously, they used to trade. The trading with Russia is near to next impossible, very or extremely difficult for them, given where they are geography-wise as well. Again, right next to the border, and of course, there's the other part of. Of course, there's still the parliamentary election. Obviously, that's coming up will be quite significant. I don't know if it's going to be as comfortable for her to retain her seat. I hope so, but we'll have to wait and see over it. But this is quite significant for Moldova to show that they are indeed very keen to make sure that they stomp out corruption in their government. It's a very good sign, a very positive sign, considering Russia are trying everything they can to basically stay on top of them and try to pull things in their favour, shall we say. At least trying to, anyway, from their point of view here. The next story I've got for you guys is from Africa News. This, well, not particular from Africa, but this is from the other side of the opposite side of the ocean. So, gang violence in Haiti forces farmers to flee as missionaries, and a child is among 8 who were kidnapped. Once again, the continuation of gang violence is still happening in Haiti, and there is a severe lack of accountability when it comes to what's happening here. The police only have so much powers that they can do. It's not really much of a military in Haiti. We know that Haiti have been using Kenyan police forces to try and help them curb things, but that's not been successful, as we know. We also know that the government, or the council, shall we say, who run things are corrupt as hell. So you have that issue as well. We also know that many people turn to gang violence, turn to the gangs within Haiti because there is barely any economy there, that people don't have any hopes or aspirations, and those who try to flee to America are likely to be sent back to the country because obviously of what's happening when it comes to cracking down on immigration here. So we know that Haiti's who try to flee to America, trying to claim asylum and whatnot, obviously that's proving to be very difficult for them. And so being stuck in Haiti is a very difficult thing. So some of them do try to flee to the Dominican Republic. That has proven to be not as successful as some people might think it is, as what tends to happen, what's been happening recently actually, the Dominican Republic have been rounding up a lot of Haitians and sending them back to the country, because a lot of the general public are becoming frustrated with basically all the immigration language, all that kind of stuff that we're hearing here and in America. That kind of stuff is being basically pumped. That message is being pumped into people who live and are nationals of the Dominican Republic. So that is playing into that factor too. So really is becoming more like, where are they supposed to go? They can't cross over to Africa. They can't get to Europe so easily, like because of where they are geography wise. So what do? It's a very difficult situation. So the people here are consistently suffering, unfortunately, and it's another heartbreaking story, I'm afraid, guys. So armed gangs have once again plunged an Haitian community into fear and paralyzed after gunmen stormed a local orphanage last Sunday, abducting 8 people, including an Irish missionary and a 3-year-old child. The attack targeted St. Helena's orphanage in Kissakoff, a once thriving agricultural area near Port-au-Prince, now overrun by a violent gang alliance known as the Vid Vassam, which has been designated a foreign terrorist organization by the US. Among those kidnapped is Gela Headley, an Irish national who has lived in Haiti since 1993, caring for children with disabilities. Her abduction marks a grim return to violence for the orphanage, which was previously attacked in 2013. I have an Irish national who's been working and living in Haiti since 1993, consistently trying to help children who has been adopted. That is absolutely terrifying. That is really terrifying. The government and UNICEF are working to relocate dozens of children and staff to safer locations. Meanwhile, farmers like Celia Diski are abandoning their lands. There is almost no one left in the neighborhood. We can't work here, and we worry with worried hearts all the time. You see armed gang people coming towards you, telling you to run or stop, Diski said. The violence has crippled agriculture in the area, forcing families to flee when they should be sowing crops. And this is going to lead to malnutrition. We are running because we should be caring for when we should be caring for our plutonium. We have to plant beans, but we can't because of the situation. Everyone is running. We can't stay in the area because of the shooting. We can't relax, added farmer Josine Suffolk. The incident also adds to Haiti's growing humanitarian crisis, with over 1 million people displaced due to the gang violence, according to international aid groups. No group has claimed responsibility for the kidnapping. Afternoon, Joe. No group has claimed responsibility, and we've had people being kidnapped. What is being done? What is being done? That's the question. Well, at the moment, nothing seems to be being done at the moment, which is very frustrating.
Hello.
Oh, sorry about that. Don't know why the video played. Sorry. The problem with Haiti is the problem with Haiti is that the country has been through decades of problems. It has a long history. of problems after problems. Obviously, geography-wise, it's not in a very good place as well because of where it is from the tectonic point of view. So they suffer from earthquakes. They also suffer from tsunamis and hurricanes because of their position geography-wise, which is quite contrasting to the Dominion Republic as well, which is a bit weird, but that's just unfortunately where they are. And consistently, time and time and again, they've had governments or leaders or kings or whatever authoritarianisms trying to take over and trying to do things beneficial to them. Not beneficial to themselves rather than to the people. And the people have consistently, time and time again, have had suffered as a direct result of it. And the country has never fully recovered from the earthquake it suffered decades ago as well. They have consistently suffered. They don't remember that. I can't remember the last time they had a democratic election, because every single time it seems to be a case of like a council picks a prime minister, and then the prime minister's got to speak on behalf, and then another prime minister basically just got up and left. Then a new prime minister was appointed, and now then they formed this council, and it was just like one problem after another. And one of the things that I said the last time we had a deep conversation about Haiti was because of the gangs are not being dealt with, so people are continuously running amok, and the streets have turned into basically it's gang violence, it's gang warfare. There are some gangs who aren't working together and going against each other, as well as gangs targeting police. And we also know that they're rounding up children as well and people, because quite frankly nobody has any work to do. And we just literally seen from here how farmers are being forced to flee because they can't even plant their crops. And what's going to happen if they don't have food? Well, people are going to start starving, and that's going to be the next big problem here as well. It's really, really frustrating to say the least. Well, that's good to hear, Alex. Yeah, it's a wonderful job to work with children. My partner works with children as well. It's always nice to work with kids. It's always nice, that is. Yeah, anyone who's lucky enough to work with children. Yeah, good evening, Joe. Hope you're doing well. No, that's nice to read that, all things considered, when I'm talking about really heartbreaking stories. So, don't worry. That's we're not. The rest of the stories are not going to be as bad as them, guys. Don't worry. Let me just set this up. I don't know why the video played. Oh, it's because I didn't switch screens. That's why. Sausages. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this funny video. You guys might have heard a little bit of it already because it was playing and didn't even realize it was playing. Unfortunately, so I do apologize for that. But we'll take a little break. We got one story from America we will cover, and then I want to dive into this bit more about this story we looked at on the live stream earlier about the Denmark Zoo, and we'll look into a couple of stories from the war in Ukraine and Deep State map. Based on the time that we have, it looks like we'll have plenty of time to cover all of them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this funny video here from Nerdy Skinner Comedy on Rachel Reeves announces a new policy, guys. Yes, a new policy.
Hello, it's me, Rachel Reeves. I have a few updates to help with growth. As of today, I can confirm that there are now going to be 3 new policies in the UK. Number 1. Anybody that has been in the sun and has a tan or sunburn from the heat wave now has to pay tan tax at 25% APR plus VAT. You've clearly had time on your hands and can afford it. So now it's time to burn a hole in your wallet. Number 2. Anybody that's on a diet to get a summer body now has to pay diet tax at 50% LIDL plus RAC. I want to go on a diet, but I'm too stressed. Now it's not jealousy, it's just fair is fair. Finally, number 3. Anybody who doesn't cry in their places of work once per month in front of people now has to pay happy tax at 90% FBI plus double Ds. I'm a human woman and I can cry, so cry with me or pay. Look who's laughing now. Ha 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 ha. So there you go. This will improve the country, and I will be back next week with some new policies in my devotion to this country. Goodbye. It's okay to cry. Cry with me.
Happy tax, guys. You're getting a happy tax. Yeah, you will be happy, or you will pay it. You will pay the happy tax. Oh dear, happy tax. That's a new one, isn't it, guys? Guys, just a quick reminder for those who are here, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Greatly appreciate. Shares across social media. Subscribe if you haven't to already. All that good stuff, guys. It is greatly appreciated. And do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content as well on those platforms. If you can, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for those who are here. I do appreciate it. Oh, where is the oh, there it is. I was trying to find the right one. Right, the next one we got is from America. Very interesting one. So the House committee subpoenaed the Clintons and several top former DOJ officials for testimony on Jeffrey Epstein. So the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Connor, our Republican, also issued a subpoena to the Justice Department for records related to the deceased sex offender. Now, I don't know if the Clintons were involved in the whole Epstein case or not, whether Clinton was on that island or not. We just don't know. I don't know if there's been pictures of Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein. People can correct me if I'm wrong if there have been pictures or they have been known to be together or not. I don't know. But if there is a link between the Clintons and Epstein, should that be investigated? Absolutely. But should it be done by the by the Republicans? Hell no. Because this is about a political witch hunt. Now, we do know that the Democrats didn't want the Epstein files being released, like a lot of other files, when they were in power. So that it's not like they haven't got skeletons in their closet too. But I don't think, this is, for me, it's another desperate attempt. I do see this more as a desperate attempt that while this is something that should be looked into, I see this as a desperate attempt to stop people asking Donald Trump about the Epstein files and his relation to them, while information still continues to get leaked about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which, by the way, is just not going away. But this is very serious. This could be a very serious thing, a very big thing, nonetheless, this as well, potentially. But I don't know, and I don't know enough to say that says to me, yeah, the Clintons are definitely a part of all this. I don't know that for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't. So the House committee is investigating the Jeffrey Epstein case on Tuesday, issuing subpoenas to former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and several top former Justice Department officials for their testimony. The House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform announced on Tuesday that it sent out the deposition subpoenas to the Clintons, former Attorney Generals Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Bill Barr, Merrick Garland, Jeff Sessions, and Alberto Gonzalez, and former FBI directors James Comey and Robert Mueller for testimonies relating to horrific crimes perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein. The committee's chairman, James Comer, issued a subpoena to the Justice Department for records related to Epstein, a convicted sex offender who was found dead in his jail cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. That subpoena directs the Department of Justice to turn over the full, complete, unredacted Epstein files to the committee on or before August the 19th, 2025. The DOJ had been facing furious backlash after announcing last month that after reviewing Epstein's case, no other people were expected to be charged, and that no further information about the case would be released. The cover letter Comer sent to former president calls for him to sit for a deportation on October the 14th to answer a question about his relationship with Epstein. By your own admission, you flew on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane 4 separate times in 2022 and 2023, Como wrote. You were also allegedly close to Miss Ghislaine Maxwell, an Epstein co-conspirator, and attended an intimate dinner with her in 2014, 3 years after public records about her involvement in Mr. Epstein's abuse of minors, the letter said. Misspelling the first name of Ghislaine Maxwell, who was serving a 20-year prison sentence for helping her role in helping Epstein sexually abuse teenage girls. The Como letter said that there are conflicting reports about whether you visited Mr. Epstein's island. Clinton has denied ever going to Epstein's private island, but some of the abuse alleges occurred. President Donald Trump, who also had once had a friendly relationship with Epstein and Maxwell, alleged Clinton had gone to the island 28 times but provided no proof of the claim. Representatives for the Clintons did not really respond to a request for comment. Angel Arida, a spokesperson for the former president, issued a statement in 2019 saying that Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Epstein had been charged with. He said Clinton had traveled on Epstein's planes 4 times in 2002 and 2003 while traveling to do work for the Clinton Foundation, and that foundation's staffers and Secret Service accompanied him on trips. He has not spoken to Epstein in well over a decade, the statement said. Well, they do know each other then. So they do know each other. They are familiar with each other then. Well, considering you've been on a plane 4 times with him, you can't say that there's not something there. Like, that's very hard for me to... I'm sorry, that's a hard pill for me to swallow there. That's not something that I can just simply say to myself, yeah, just because he flew on the plane 4 times, but there's nothing else, guys. It's totally fine. There's nothing more to see here. No, I do think this needs to be looked into more. But should the Republicans be doing it? No, because they're incompetent. But yeah, there should be something looked into this for sure. I definitely think there's something here. Can't chat together. Keep giving back errors. That's fine, Joe. It's fine. It's fine. It's quiet live stream today anyway. I think people are elsewhere as well. But yeah, I do think this needs to be looked into. I definitely think it needs to be looked into as for sure. But that doesn't mean that we should stop talking about what's happening with Trump, with his whole connection with Epstein as well. That there isn't something there, because we know there's something there. It's just a case of they just don't want to talk about it. Essentially, that's the problem on it. So the next story I've got for you guys, where is... Oh, do I not have it up? Oh, okay, I can use that one. Is one that we talked a little bit about this morning. So a Danish zoo is asking people to donate small animals to feed its predators. Now, I'm going to read the article before I give my piece, because I do have, as you said this morning, I have mixed feelings about this, as you guys know. So Almborg Zoo said that the practice was nothing new, as the appeal for small animals and horses to feed predators sparked online backlash. A zoo in Denmark has divided public opinion after issuing an unusual appeal on Facebook for people to donate unwanted animals to be used as food for its predators. The zoo said online that those who own a healthy animal that needs to be given away for various reasons should feel free to donate it to us. People were advised to bring a maximum of 4 small animals at a time. Posts on social media said the zoo was looking for guinea pigs, rabbits, chickens, and potentially horses as possible donations after being gently emphasized by trained staff. The animals will be fed to the zoo's carnivores. The zoo explained that such animals are an important part of the diet of our predators, especially the European lynx, which needs whole prey that resembles what it would naturally hunt in the wild. Now, I do accept this premise that obviously if you have carnivore animals and they need to be fed meat and whatnot, I totally accept that premise. I understand that premise of the case of wanting to give it meat, and obviously meat and that. I just don't like the fact that they're appealing to the public for this. There's a part of me that's just like, this seems silly to be asking the public, saying, please donate your healthy animals so that we can use your animal. It's not something that I think should be should be something that should be public. I think it's very uncomfortable. It's like, especially if there's an animal you're connected with. Like there is this zoos do this often. If zoos do this so often, this wouldn't be news, Joe. If zoos did this often, this wouldn't be news. I disagree. I don't think this is something that's done very often. I think that asking people to donate their animals, it's not something that sits right with me. Especially if it's an animal that you're very much very close to as well. I don't feel that's right there. And it says healthy animals. Well, when animals reach a certain age, they're not considered that healthy, are they? In that respect. Now, there's the counter argument, is of course, is the as it says there, it's obviously resembling the hunts in the wild. And it's rather than them getting buried or just chucked away after their life is ended, whether they're not being buried in a cemetery or cremated or whatnot. Instead, they can just be fed to carnivores instead, as in carnivores instead. But the thing is, it's asking the public here, and this is I find it a little bit distasteful. And I'm not sure. I just don't understand why the zoo is doing this. This is the thing. I'm not understanding why the zoo has chosen to do this. I don't think they needed to do this at all. I don't see the logic. I'm trying to understand the logic behind why they've asked this in the first place. It's usually farms that donate animals. Well, you don't hear nothing about that. But we're talking about members of the public being told to give up their domestic animals if they don't want them to be fed. That way, nothing goes to waste. We ensure natural behaviour, nutrition, and well-being of our predators, as Zoo said. Look, I'm all for that. There's nothing on that regard, but it's not something that should be shouted about. To discover more, pet owners were told to click on the link accompanied by a picture of a wildcat baring its teeth with its mouth wide open. The zoo remained open to receiving horses, but but it needed any vary throughout the year, and they may be a waiting list. Horses donated to the scheme should have a passport, and the donation comes with the opportunity for a tax deduction based on the animal's value, which is calculated by its weight. Zoologist Thea Loman Fastabel said the horses come from private individuals, and that then when they are injured, old, or just in excess, they cannot get rid of them. They come to us. This is like private individuals. So it just sounds like rich, wealthy men like that. That's like here's the thing. Like, why are they asking members? Why are they making this is something that should be discreet, not so open about it. This is the thing that really infuriates me. The appeal sparked backlash in comments online, with people protesting the idea that healthy pets should be used as praise. Others defended the zoo for trying to preserve feeding behaviours found in the wild. Yeah, this I understand this context here completely, but I just don't like it being so open about it. The feeding chief zoologist Annette Sophie said there was nothing new to the practice. We've always done it. We've always seen it as very natural to do this way, she said, adding that people rarely donate dogs and cats. Well, that's what you're implying. This is the thing. That's what you're implying. Okay, you're saying that this is nothing new to the practice. Then why are you appealing to the public? Why are you not doing this something in what is seen by most people as discretionary? Why are you being so open about it? It's not something people are comfortable with. And also, you're upsetting all the vegans out there as well. I'd rather donate them to something like this than put them in the ground where the meat goes to waste. Well, it returns to the I want to put this out here. For some people, they want to bury their animals, and then it returns to nature. Some people just prefer it that way. It's not the first time Denmark zoos have come under scrutiny. In 2014, a zoo in Copenhagen caused an outcry after it killed a healthy 2-year-old giraffe named Marcus to avoid inbreeding, despite an online petition against it. So this zoo has had problems as well. Its carcasses was partly used for research and partly fed to crowds of tigers, lions, and leopards on the zoo grounds. Last week, a zoo in the German city of Nuremberg sparked uproar after it killed 12 baboons, despite protests against it by numerous animal rights groups. Why did they kill them? What was the reason to kill them? And we don't even know. yes, of course it's natural to feed them predators, and you want them to keep those natural instincts and whatnot. I get that. I get all that. But I just think, yeah, why do they have to be so controversial? They have their ways of getting meat, so why change? Why, like, this? A part of this sounds like to me. A part of this sounds like to me more like a cost-cutting measure from the Danish show. That's what it sounds more like to me. It sounds like to me that they are looking at, they're trying to encourage people. Hey, give us your free cats, dogs, and whatever you've got, so that we don't have to spend as much meat. That's what it sounds like to me. I think this is more. It sounds to me more like about money maybe than actually animals here, and they're obviously using it as a shield. It's not something in my opinion that should be something shouted about. Yes, it does happen, but we don't really have people saying, please give us your beloved animals so that we can feed them to our tigers and our lions and whatnot. Like, that's the way it comes across to me, and it comes across to people online. That's how it comes across. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how it comes across, and it's not something I generally like to hear. Wow, have we already gone 45 minutes and we've gone through all these stories? Wow. I honestly thought I could stretch it out to an hour and a half, but not even going to get to do an hour, I'm afraid, here today, guys. Okay, so this, we're going to be looking at the feed from the Kiev Independent. We've looked at some of it this morning, but we'll look at, see what some of the updates have, and then we'll have a look at the Deep State map. Then we will have a additional funny video before we go into the funny memes as well for this program. So a productive phone call with Trump focused on ending the war, sanctions, and drone production, Zelensky said. So President Volodymyr Zelensky had a phone call with Donald Trump, pretty much emphasizing the same things, regurgitating some of the same things. Sorry, that they've already had. I don't know why I keep yawning. It's terrible. Apologies. That they've already had. I don't know if Russia is going to change its position. I don't expect them to change their position, even if Donald Trump is looking at ways to hurt Russia. I just don't see it happening at the moment, but things could possibly change here. So let's see what they said. So President Volodymyr Zelensky said he had a productive conversation with US President Donald Trump, discussing ending Russia's war and coordinating military and diplomatic efforts. The call between the leaders took place 3 days before Trump's deadline for Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine. We're grateful to Trump and all the efforts towards a just and lasting peace, Zelensky wrote on X. That's very... I like the way he's put it. I like the way he's framed it here. He's framing it in a way that favors Trump there. It is truly a must to stop the killing as soon as possible, and we fully support this. The two leaders exchanged assessments on the battlefield situation, knowing that the Russians has intensified the brutality of their attacks, Zelensky's post read. The Ukrainian president added that Trump is fully informed about the Russian strikes on Kiev and other cities and communities. Russia's most recent mass attacks on Kiev was also the most deadly, killing 31 and injuring more than 150 on July the 31st. Zelensky also spoke about sanctions, saying that Moscow is sensitive to the prospect of new US penalties and to Trump's resolve, calling it a lever that can change a lot. Two leaders also discussed expanding defensive cooperation. Zelensky said Ukraine has already prepared a draft agreement on drone cooperation with the US and is ready to finalize what he calls one of the strongest agreements this could be. Zelensky thanked the United States and NATO partners, including the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, for its commitment of more than $1 billion in funding for American weapons to be delivered to Ukraine. The scheme was proposed by Trump in June under the initiative alliances countries would purchase US-made arms, including air defense systems, and send some of them to Ukraine. Senior American diplomat John Kelly told the UN Security Council on July the 31st that Trump expects a peace deal by August the 8th. Yeah, somehow I'm not thinking that's going to happen. President Donald Trump has made clear this must be done by by August the 8th. Kelly said the United States is ready to implement additional measures to secure peace. Trump warned on July 29th that unless Russia agreed to halt its invasion, sweeping new sanctions would take effect within 10 days. This includes secondary tariffs on countries and continues to buy Russian oil, gas, and other exports, a move that can significantly affect Russia's trading partners such as China and India. Yeah, Russia are really mad about that. They're really mad about that. Kharkov on blast because Russia attack kills 10 injured and injures 7 over Ukraine over the past day. Yep, we talked about that earlier today. National Guard colonel arrested in a major drone fund investment case involving an MP ex-governor. He's accused of signing government contracts with supply companies at knowingly inflation levels. I know you can't see the tab on the left-hand side, guys. I know, just in case you're wondering. 1 second. We cost Russian visit one last chance for Putin before taking action. Analysis says, oh, it's one of those threads. Hold on a second. Russia's oil and gas revenues fall for a third consecutive month. Fall by nearly 30% year-on-year in July, marking the third consecutive month of decline, the Russian finance minister reported on August the 5th, as reported by Independent out at the Moscow Times. Benjamin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Russia relies heavily on its energy exports to finance the ongoing large-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russia has collected 787.3 billion rubles from oil and gas taxes in July, which is down 28% compared to the same month in 2024. Over the first 7 months of 2025, oil and gas revenues fell by 90%, totaling 5.52 trillion rubles, 68 billion. Below 6.8 trillion rubles collected in the same period last year, 84 billion. Mineral extraction tax and the DPI revenue, a key component of Russia's energy income, plunged 38% year on year to 634.1 million rubles, with oil companies contributing 543 million rubles, 36% less than July 2024. Gazprom, Russia's state-owned gas giant, has seen its exports to Europe hit lows not seen since the 1970s, according to the Moscow Times. Ouch! The 1970s. Earlier in July, the EU approved the 18th sanction package, lowering the price cap on Russian oil from $60 to 47.6 per barrel. The cap was originally imposed by the G7 in late 2022 to curtail Russia's oil revenues without destabilizing global markets. Yeah, the problem is that the one country that can push them out completely, yeah, it should be zero, but because of global markets, they can't. But the one country that could do it is Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia doesn't want to do that because they do have a relationship with Russia as well. Although it's not as it's kind of neutral-ish like it is with them. Initially, Russia's finance ministry had projected 10.94 trillion rubles in oil and gas revenues for 2025. That estimates have now been revised downwards by nearly a quarter to 8.32 trillion rubles. To compensate, the Kremlin has reportedly continued tapping into the National Wealth Fund, whose liquid assets have already shrunk by 2/3 since the start of the full-scale war. President Donald Trump has suggested on August 5th that falling oil prices could compel Russian President Vladimir Putin to end the war in Ukraine. Nope, it will not do that. Trump said that Russian President Vladimir Putin will stop killing people if OPEC and OPEC plus countries continue to export more oil. Quote, he's going to have no choice because his economy stinks. Trump said in an interview with MSNBC, they want to drill more because I think they want me happy because if energy goes down low enough, Putin's going to stop killing people, Trump claimed. Yeah, sure. Sure, Donnie. We all believe you. We all believe everything that you're saying, Donnie. Let's see what else is there. Kremlin confident in the face of Trump's sanctioning threats, doubts real impact, rhetoric report. Yeah, a lot of it's just more, it's a closed economy now, Russia, really, so it's not really going to hurt them that much. Any other stories here that we haven't seen? I looked at that one already this morning. 330 troops here, we saw that this morning as well. Zelensky says mercenaries from Asia, and yeah, we saw that this morning as well. So those are all the stories from this morning. Doesn't seem to be ones here. I'm just going to refresh the page. New stories just dropped here. Russia considers air truce proposal to Trump without ending the war, Bloomberg has said. The Kremlin is weighing a proposal to pause its long-range strike campaign in Ukraine as a potential concession to US President Donald Trump, even as it remains committed to continuing the war, Bloomberg has reported, citing undisclosed sources familiar with the matter. Russia has now 3 days to set the deadline. According to Bloomberg, Russian officials are exploring options ahead of a visit by US Envoy Steve Witkoff to Moscow this week. One possible offer under consideration is a limited air truce involving a pause in drone and missile strikes, but only if Ukraine agrees to participate. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov confirmed the importance of the meeting with Witkoff, but declined to comment on any specific proposals. Trump confirmed on August the 3rd that Witkoff may travel to Russia on August the 6th or the 7th, so that could be tomorrow or Thursday. I think next week, Wednesday or Thursday, he may be going to Russia. Trump told reporters they'd like to see him. They've asked that he meet, and we'll see what happens. Witkoff has already met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in April. He's seen interactions with Putin, including the use of Kremlin-provided translators, and recipients of Russian narratives about the war have been criticized from officials in Washington and abroad. While Russian President Vladimir Putin is not expected to agree to a full ceasefire, Moscow is seeking ways to ease mounting pressure from Trump, Bloomberg writes. Trump needs some kind of a gift, a concession from Russia, Sergei Markov, a Kremlin-aligned political analyst, told Bloomberg. An air truce could be such a gift. Let me be clear, right? This so-called air truce, do you know what really you're going to do? If they get Ukraine to agree to this, Russia will simply break it. They will simply just break it. There's no way that they will keep to this. No way. And Trump's an idiot if he... Well, we know Trump's an idiot, but America would be fools to believe that Putin would keep his word on it. The idea of an air truce was also raised last week by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko during talks with Putin on August the 1st, though the Russian president did not comment publicly. Lukashenko previously discussed the concept with Trump's Ukrainian envoy Keith Kellogg during a rare US visit to Belarus in June. Kellogg is expected to visit in Kiev later this week with meeting President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky said he held productive phone calls with Trump on August the 5th, including discussions on sanctions and recent Russian airstrikes on Ukrainian cities. See, the thing is that if Ukraine stop using drones and airstrikes, it can severely hamper. It gives Russia huge amounts of advantage, because what it does is that it's the one big offensive that Ukraine has been able to do. Their drones and their missile strikes, they've been able to target inside Russia. They've been able to hurt Russia because of them. Telling them to stop that is a big ask. And even if Russia agrees to it, and it's not going to lead to talks as well. This is the thing. Like, it's not going to lead to ceasefire talks, in my opinion, because I just don't expect Putin. The thing for me is this is all about Russia trying to stop Ukraine firing and allowing them to get giving the Russian troops and the Russian forces reprisal so that they can strike back. That's how I see it. I see it a case of them just going to use it as just a means to strike back. That's what I think this is. That's what it really is there. Shall we have a look at the deep state map, guys? We've managed to reach an hour at least, so that's a good sign. So for those who don't know, the link is in the description, by the way, including all the articles from today's live stream. This is what we call the deep state map. If I scroll out for you guys. So this is the current conflict. You have Ukraine, you have Kiev, and then you have a lot of dots and a lot of colors. So let me explain what some of this is for those who don't know. So the color in green is liberated. When Russia, a lot of the green was when, especially in the north and northern parts of Ukraine, you can see there. So a lot of that was liberated when Russia tried to storm Kiev back in 2022 and tried to basically take over then, and it backfired, and obviously they had to force back. Other patches of greens was when there was a counter attack by Ukraine a few years ago, where they really pushed Russia back. They managed to push Russia quite far back. Since then, it's been more Russia pushing than Ukraine pushing back. Now, there have been some areas where they have pushed back in some areas where they've recaptured one or two minor villages. But overall, Russia are still the ones on the aggression, are still on the offensive, are still pushing. And we'll see in one part of the battle where it's not looking good for Ukraine in one part that we will get to in just a moment. So first of all, I just want to show up here, because this is one area that's been apparently they've been able to push back in this area here. So my understanding here, yeah, you can see here some blue dots, some blue marks here. So my understanding is that although Russia have tried to break through here, this is also the same area where Ukraine broke into Russian territory, where they tried to hold on to it as bargaining chip, but they've obviously lost that bargaining chip now. And Russia seems to have continues to push into heading towards Sumy there, and obviously it's another line really that they're trying to hold. But there's been a lot of engagement there taking place as well. Here, and what I'm going to show you here. So in this screen here, there's an arrow here that shows you if you can pull back the dates, so you can actually go back by a couple of dates and see if there's been any movements whatsoever from the lines. And I'm just going back about a week or 2 weeks, clicking on this, and it doesn't look like there's been much movement, if any movement, around here. Even though it looks like Ukraine have lost some territory here, they are still making some gains here and there from the looks of it here. Yeah, there is still conflict taken here, but this is not where the most gains are being made, although they are making gains, as it looks like. They've held on to those areas for quite a long time, Ukraine. It's coming up down here. There's a big blob we'll come to where they're really making gains here. You can see here, Russia obviously pushing through here. The purple, for those who just want to know, just for reference here, this was Ukrainian pro-Russian Ukrainian citizens, basically rebels taking up arms against Ukraine before the war started, basically declared themselves not part of Ukraine and whatnot. That's why it's covered in purple here. So one of the big spots, as we can see here, Konoviskia here, it's not looking very good. As you can see here, Russia are continuing to push here. So there has been some pushback a little bit here, but overall, Russia are still push and push and push. And what's going to eventually happen here, guys? Eventually, what's going to happen is they're going to try and inbox this entire area. They're going to try and surround this area. So where Russia have taken Chasky Var, and you can see where they're pushing here between these other villages from the arrow dots. They're going to try and get to this road in Kosoviska there. That's where they want to get to, because that road here is obviously one of the main supply lines of the conflict here. If they can get that, they can cut off all the Ukrainian forces in this area, and that would mean that all of the Ukrainian forces here would be trapped, and they would all die as a result. If that happens, what's likely to happen is if Russia continues to push here where Chasky Var is, and if they can push here on the left here in Yagaviska from here as well, what's going to happen is that the Ukrainian forces who are held here, they're all going to have to move back. They're going to have to give up all these villages. They're going to have no choice but to give them up. It's a huge chunk of territory, but they're going to end up having to do that, because one thing that Ukraine cannot afford to do is expend forces. Russia can expend them, but Ukraine can't. So, yeah, over the next days or weeks or so, there is going to be significant change in this part here, unfortunately. This has been one of the biggest movements here as well. These villages here, they've really pushed out here. Yeah, most of these villages, last time I checked, were under Ukraine control, and a lot of them there have really, really pushed out here. Would this include drones and missiles? I would think it includes drones and missiles, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that in that deal that Putin was saying. Remember, it's only just that that report just came out, because I just literally refreshed it. So it's a bit too it's too early for me to say, but I would assume missiles. I don't know about drones. Obviously, it would be beneficial if it didn't feature drones on that. So this is another spot here, as I said, about encirclements. So if anyone's played command and strategy games and know about taking advantage of about encirclements, this is another example of it here. You can see here Sugovolv and Raskin here, big pushes here from Russia here trying to take the surrounding area. Obviously, the long-term goal here, if they can take Shavetskio, then Hochstein there, and obviously that main road there, that's obviously the main supply line. If Russia can push to that main supply line, obviously it then means it cuts off the Ukrainian forces. So again, you can see this. I can see all these villages being taken by Russia at some point within the next day, couple of days or weeks or so, despite the fact that Ukraine, like they are over here, are trying to hold. Again, I just can't see them holding this forever. They are going to have to give up this territory at some point here. So I just can't see them holding it. They are going to have to pull back. One of the things that Putin has always wanted to capture back, I'm just going to pull out for a second here, just from a map, strategical and map point of view. So one of the things that Putin wants is he wants the whole of Donetsk captured. Now, he was unable to do that last year, but this year he's very much close to doing it. See this. I don't know if you guys can see the dotted lines here. This dotted line here, right in the front of the screen. If you can see where this dotted line is, obviously this is obviously the regions here. He wants Donetsk. He wants to capture Donetsk, and I think he's going to get all of Donetsk by the end of this year. I did say, yeah, they was going to try and do it last year, but he failed to do so. But this year, I think he's going to get it. He's going to cost a lot of lives to do so. Yeah, it'll cost a lot of military equipment and whatnot, but it's the bodies, and they're using a lot of mercenaries to help them punch through a lot of gaps as well. So rather than Russian soldiers in this conflict, and it's been reported, lots of mercenaries are being hired, like hired mercenaries, private contractors being paid lots of money to take part in this war for Russia's benefit. Those who've had experience with a gun, those who know how on the battlefield and all that kind of stuff are being used in this conflict, because a lot of Russian reservists and forces are inexperienced and are new, and there's a lot of false conscription, obviously, on Russian people right now being thrown into this meat grinder who don't know how to use a gun. So hence why he's turning to private mercenaries. This is also why he's also turning to North Korean soldiers, because why not use North Korean soldiers as cannon fodder instead of your own people? Makes sense. Again, that's what this all is. But the thing is, how much longer can they continue to do this, Russia? That's a good question as well. So you can see here there's more pushing in some territories here, but this has not been moving too much here. It's more in this area here is when most of the movement is, but there's not really been too much movement, but they are obviously trying to make some gains there as well. And the reason why there's no movement on here is because of something called the Daimo River. The Daimo River, which is keeping Russia from crossing over here. And during the first invasion occurred, obviously Russia had Kherson, and the major counterattack that Ukraine did a few years ago pushed back and took back Kherson. And so far, Ukraine have been able to hold it because of the river. But obviously, if they get to Zaporizhia here, a big city here that's also gets hit by bombardments all the time as well. They get hit from bombardments all the time as well. Obviously, ideally, they would obviously like to try to cross over. They could try and cross over here. I imagine that at some point, somewhere up along here, they're going to try and cross over Russia. I imagine at some point in the future. But time is still quite a long ways off. But at the moment, this is the state of play in the battlefield. But still, it isn't the end of the world for Ukraine, but they are still losing ground. But also Russia are throwing away. Like, how long can Russia continue this? How long can Ukraine continue this? This is the question as well. I just honestly don't know. But it is quite fascinating, to say the least there. I would expect changes in the next day, says Zhao. Yeah, I think we'll obviously keep an eye on it. We'll have a look at the Kiev Independent on Thursday. See if there's been any changes. If we have time on the Good Morning show Thursday, we might have a look at the deep state map and see if there's been any significant changes as well. We'll do that if possible as well on Thursday morning. There we go. Let me make sure I've got the right one on. So guys, before we go to the funny memes, I've got a funny video for you guys. First, hold on 1 second. There we go. Hope you guys enjoy this funny video. This is hilarious. So I sent this to Daily Blase, so I'm 90% sure Darren is going to get... Our friend Darren will share this video on Friday Frolics. But for those who won't be able to make it, you'll definitely enjoy this one. I saw this and I had to share this with you guys.
We had a very good weekend in many respects. We're seeing phenomenal numbers in terms of the business we do with other countries and the business we do within our own country. I mean, really phenomenal numbers. We'll be announcing a new statistician sometime over the next 3-4 days. We had no confidence. I mean, the numbers were ridiculous, what she announced, but that was just one negative number. All of the numbers seem to be great, and so we'll see how that comes out. And if you remember, just before the election, this woman came out with these phenomenal numbers on Biden's economy. Phenomenal numbers. And then right after the election, they announced that those numbers were wrong. And that's what they did the other day. So it's a scam, in my opinion. My opinion is it's just additional scam.
On Russia, Mr. President, can you say, have those nuclear submarines been deployed yet to face Russia?
I've already put out a statement, and the answer is they are in the region, yeah, where they have to be.
Can you say what Steve Witkoff's message will be to the Russians? Is there anything they can do to avoid sanctions at this point?
Yeah, get a deal where people stop getting killed. They had a number that just came out that a tremendous number of Russian soldiers are being killed. And likewise, Ukraine, a lower number, but still thousands and thousands of people. And now we're adding towns where they're being hit by missiles. So it's a lot of people being killed in that ridiculous war. And, you know, we stopped a lot of countries from war, India and Pakistan. We stopped a lot of countries. And we're going to get that one stopped, too. Somehow we're going to get that one stopped. That's a really horrible war. You heard about Cambodia and Thailand. We got that one done. We got the Congo, which was going on for 31 years. Rwanda. That one's done. We stopped a lot of wars. This is the one we seem to be... this should be the easiest to stop, and it's not. I mean, Rwanda and Congo were going on 31 years when I got it stopped. 8 million people dead, at least. That's what they have, but I think the number is much higher. And the leaders of each country, Rwanda and the Congo, they were great. They were great, and they wanted it stopped. 31 years it went on. We stopped a lot of wars. Serbia, Kosovo was going to be happening, and I don't believe it will now, so we stopped that one too.
Hold on, I've got to see. Where's the Zelensky? Where is Zelensky? I need to see Zelensky again. We only saw one clip of Zelensky. There, wait, where? There's Zelensky. Nice. Now, for those, this is all now for poor babies. Don't say poor babies. They're AI imagery. Okay, it's AI, guys. It's AI. I can absolutely guarantee you, they're not real babies. Okay, but no. Baby Zelensky. That is one very serious baby. You do not want to mess with that baby. I like this one here. Look at this one here with the coat and the paper on the right there. This like the cutest innocent child here, and then you got the one here with the camera. It's absolutely brilliant. It's like AI imageries could be so funny, you know. Oh, you can't have a laugh. Cambodia. Thailand there. Very happy Thailand. Very, very happy Thailand there as well, guys. Very, very happy Thailand. Not a very happy one. That was definitely worth sharing. That was worth sharing. That is for sure, guys. And so are the funny memes before we head out. Oh, good to see you, Alison Keir. I know you were hanging out at the Bins podcast. I know they were live, so I hope you're enjoying the show there, my friend. I don't know when they go live or how long, so obviously I'm going to end up clashing with them. It's all AI. Yeah, it's all AI, obviously. Yeah, of course it is. That cunt lives in another universe. Yeah, he does. He does. By the way, you can't use that word for Scrabble, I've been told. Don't use it for Scrabble, I've been told. Right, before we head out, we've got our 5 funny memes, because that's why people come to this live stream more than anything. It's not for the news. It's not for the funny videos. It's not even for me. It's for the funny memes. It's the real reason why people come. Isn't that right, Ollie? Oh, yeah. See, Ollie says, yeah, that's why people come here, for this show specifically, for the funny memes. Well, I've got 5 for you here. 5 funny memes to go for. Let's see how we do for this one, you guys. Okay. When she Googles it, and you're still right. My missus actually did this once, and she was yeah, she was mad at me for quite a while. Yeah. Oh, what's going on? Oh no! 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Oh god, what happened there? After 2 hours of sitting and watching the lake, I realised it was someone's fence. Oh, you thought it was a lake too. Ah, you fell for that one, didn't ya? Ah, yes you did. I know you guys did. Oh, it came up again. Let's try the next one. What's going on? Hello? Funny memes? It's not working. What's going on? Why are they not switching over? Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, you're switching now. Why are you not switching before? Silly thing. Okay, let me... God, this is frustrating. Me looking at the F my kid got for the math homework I solved. Stupid. I got F. I can't believe my child got a goddamn F. Stupid. Florida woman kidnaps scientists to make her cat immortal. I'm not saying she's right, but I get it. Man, I need to know the scientist she tried to attempt to kidnap for research. Research, guys. Research, yeah. Why was this story not relevant when Daisy was alive, huh? Why not? My family, for sure. When he gets a girlfriend, he'll mature. My girlfriend and I. That's seriously disturbing. What, the last one? Well, you know, the cats are supreme. They rule the world, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. It did not work out as well as I wanted to. For some reason, they didn't scroll along. I don't know why. I had to do it not once but twice. So it kind of ruined the funny memes there. So I'm a bit annoyed, guys. I don't know what happened, honestly. So I do apologize about that. So, yeah, hopefully next week we won't have that problem, guys. Hopefully we won't have that problem next week. Remember the first time a kid showed me a number line. Still don't get it now, lol, says Scott. Cat lady to the extreme. Yeah, you think the crazy cat lady in The Simpsons is bad? No, 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 no. Move over. Match made in Jurassic Park. Yep, it was a match made in Jurassic Park. Very good. Nice one, Jal. Very good, very, very good there. So, guys, I want to say thank you guys for all coming along today. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you to everyone for turning up for those who can. I know this was a quiet live stream today, but I really appreciate you guys all coming around. I will be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for another good morning show. So if you guys can join me for that, feel free to do so. Then we'll have another Reganelite watch along live stream tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So if you guys can join me for that, it'd be greatly appreciated. So yeah, really appreciate you guys coming out as always. I'll be at Max's live stream later on if he's live streaming. I'll try and see. I don't know if Geoscopes is happening. I'll try and see if I can lurk in the chat if possible. I've got to go and have my dinner now, just in case you guys are wondering as well. But thank you guys for all coming along. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, whatever you guys are doing. But just before you run out, and don't leave just yet. We have to say as always, thank you to the gang who are here. The gang are here as well. They want to say thank you. Ollie, Pingu, and Cash. I want to say thank you guys for coming along to what is known as the quietest stream of the week, because it is one of the quietest streams of the week. And can we find Blaze? Have you guys seen Blaze anywhere? We'll just see if we can find Blaze. Blaze is still MIA from the looks of it. That's not good. Blaze is still MIA, guys. That's not good. Oh well. Hopefully he'll turn up at some point. Just before you guys go, if you haven't already, hit that like button. We greatly appreciate. Share this across the social media so others are not via this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. You can even join me on Patreon for exclusive content on that platform. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.